See, you played too much.
Welcome to a podcast about nothing with V
and AD. Why? Why?
We all got badges up in here, okay?
Okay. Right. We have another special guest.
Celebrity.
Celebrity guest with the badge.
Thank you, guys.
If you don't mind, can you please introduce yourself, tell the people who you are?
My name is Charne. I don't want to say my last name, so my name is Charne. I'm a registered nurse. I live in Long Island, New York, and I work currently in a long-term care facility in Long Island.
Woo, 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 woo.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Another thank you.
My specialty is wound care at this moment and rehabilitation. So I do half of my job is to deal with wounds, and the other half is to deal with the rehabilitation of people that come in from an acute care setting, which is a hospital, and whether they have a stroke or a hip replacement, or they have a fall and they just need to kind of get back into their level of independence. I specialize in working with the physical therapy and occupational therapists to get them ready to go home.
Nice. So with long-term care, kind of like a nursing home, or is a nursing home, people can, live there. What has it been like? Is it a madhouse? I know they said like nursing homes are getting hit the hardest. And then you also being in New York, whether it's Long Island or in Manhattan, it's just like, it's a hot spot right now.
Right. So fortunately in Nassau County, I believe it was maybe 3 weeks ago, we went into a lockdown mode, which meant that we really didn't want any visitors coming in, and we didn't really want any of the residents going out. So in long-term care, because some of them live there, they still have to go for like their doctor's appointments, certain procedures, they have to go to specialists and whatnot. So we really had to kind of prioritize what was like the most essential thing, because we didn't want to risk sending them out via ambulette or an ambulance to go to their doctor's appointments or to go into the hospital, which a lot of the doctors are there for these appointments because COVID-19 is all over the place. Yeah. And that's the area where all of, the community and, elderly, young people are going to get, that acute care that they need. So we're like, you know what, we gotta cancel all appointments if it's not essential, whether, they need a transfusion or they need to go for a wound care appointment, whatever it was, it had to be like the utmost importance. So a lot of the doctors were canceling the appointments and, pushing stuff back till May, June, sometimes July. So that's one thing that we've been dealing with. Another thing was when we first decided to go into lockdown, we had it where we had visiting hours between like 10 and 6. So families could come, they had to wear a mask, they had to Purell, wash their hands when they came in. We had to do their temperature to make sure that they didn't have a fever, because that was one of the most important signs when the CDC first started talking about COVID was, do you have a low grade temperature or do you have a high grade temperature? So we first rolled out with that. We had the staff doing, blood pressures, vital signs every shift for the residents to make sure that they weren't showing symptoms. And then when the staff would come in, we also had to get our temperature taken, and they put up Purell, stations everywhere. And the reason why they implemented this was because one of our very, very high risk acute units, which is our vent floor, on the first floor is 40 beds of people that are really on ventilators. They can't breathe by themselves. They've got wounds. They can't really do anything for themselves. And they are the most immune compromised. So any little bug that comes in, whether it's a virus or an E. coli or a C. diff that someone's bringing in, that would literally wipe out our entire unit.
Oh my gosh.
What happens is with COVID-19, it seems like with the geriatric population, it seemed to hit them a lot harder, and they don't have the immune systems to fight it off. So we had to completely lock down that unit. So that's how we started. then it was just like kind of like mentally draining, because every hour, as you know, COVID-19 started to spread across New York State, every hour there was different changes. First, these were the guidelines. Then these are the guidelines. We have to go off what DOH is saying, which is the Department of Health. And then they went from visitors to one day, nobody can come in the building. If you weren't an essential worker, you didn't work there, you can't come there.
Wow.
So it was tough.
And were these precautions that your facility in particular took, or was it something that most of the ones, or the ones you know about, had to do as well?
So this was across the board for all long-term care facilities. We had to do those. And then it was kind of tough. We had to, implement social work to get involved, to call families and let them know that they couldn't come anymore. People coming in from the hospital that were coming to our facility for care, when their families come in, they had no idea sometimes that, okay, got to stay your, 5-10 minutes, say goodbye. And it was tough turning people away.
I was just telling V before we hopped on that I feel like the hardest part of the unit that you work in would be the visitation thing. Like, I know that's probably hurting people. Like, now I have to sit here. I already feel alone. I have to sit here. Nobody's coming to visit me. Like, I can barely talk on the phone, probably. Like, I can imagine that's probably the hardest part.
It was very challenging. But the great thing is, in our facility and most long-term care, they have social work, they have recreation. So we had to cohort, which is kind of group all of the residents and all of the short-term care people that were staying with us to stay on the unit. And then at one point, they couldn't even come out of their rooms. So for, you have to have activities for geriatrics, bingo and stuff that they're normally used to doing. They're used to, seeing their friends. Some of them are allowed to go from, the first floor to the second floor to visit. None of that. So we had to have everything in the room. So recreation's coming, doing games and different things with them just to keep them from feeling isolated.
And so they would come in and go into each room and do games and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And is it like that now? Are they still isolated, or can they come out now, or is it just, it's getting worse?
There's no coming out, unfortunately. They're still supposed to be in their rooms. It is a challenge for our behavioral flaws. Like, when you have, like your grandma has dementia, she doesn't understand that. Or someone that has behaviors. On those units, we had to be a little bit more lax. And that's when we come into this thing we call social distancing or physical distancing, where we would have them kind of in like the dining room area where they could watch TV and listen to music, but they had to be 6 feet apart. First, we started with them having to wear a mask, and then the rules changed where they don't have to wear a mask. Everybody that works there, all the workers in the facility had to wear a mask. And it's tough because it's like, you're working with residents. Thank God, as in my position in administration, I'm not at the bedside 24/7, but for our support staff, like our CNAs, how do you tell someone that's old not to cough in your face or to sneeze on you? So yeah, it's one of those things. It's very challenging still. And, I'm always on the units every day, kind of educating them on the changes of what's going on. And with my specialty, because I round with the wound doctor, so everybody in our facility that has like a pressure ulcer or any type of wound or opening, whether it's surgical, we have to evaluate every Friday. And we round the entire facility. So now that, all this is happening, we have to take the extra precautions that us workers that are coming in and out, we're not bringing it in, and we're not, exposing them to stuff. So it's a lot of hand washing, a lot of Purell, your hands are dry. It's just masks all the time. You're hot, you're sweating.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tiring, but you got to protect them. You got to protect yourself, because you don't want to bring it home to your family either.
Are you guys getting any updates that we may not know about the timeline of how long this may last for you all? Because I know New York, the Northeastern region, I believe, in general, was just one of the first places to start locking down. So I know in Georgia here, we're just now experiencing some, the stubborn people didn't want to, they wanted to be out. But they're just now starting.
Who is the stubborn person?
Don't judge over there. Stay in your
Don't
bunker.
get me wrong. I was stubborn too. For like the first, I was like, I'm going to my friend's house. We're gonna.
I'm going to the quarantine party. Like, leave me alone. But they're just now starting to lock stuff down and get serious. Stores are closing earlier, even the essential stores and things like that. So is there anything or any information that you've received from your facility or in your facility that you know about the timeline of this?
So as far as I know, they're making it seem like it's going to be at least until the spring, until the summer with this thing, because they've suspended all vacation time. No one can go on vacation. All hands on deck. They need all the staff.
No.
I know in Suffolk County, my administrator works there. There's a complete lockdown after 8 p.m. You can't be on the road unless you're an essential worker. She actually drafted up a memo that we have to carry with us in case we were ever stopped, because we have to go to work.
Wow.
They're really trying to implement this thing to kind of get a hold on it, but there's still people that just don't listen.
I will say I'm actually shocked as how well traffic is moving in Atlanta. So it lets me know that people are in the house for the most part. But yeah,
and everything is. It looks like it. Yeah, everything is empty. It looks like a deserted island out here.
Yeah, seriously.
New York is just one of those places that, it's like kicking a bull. It's just, I don't know. It's my concern is our PPE. Okay, we're not getting masks. We're not getting gowns. And like people need this protective equipment, and it's running out everywhere. The hospitals don't have it. We're hoarding it. We're wearing the same mask 3 and 4 days. I'm spraying in Lysol and washing the mask, re-wearing it. It's just crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were talking to Yvette, who is a nurse in Richmond, and she was saying that they're not even allowed to take their mask home. They are actually taking the mask from them, disinfecting them, and passing them back out because there's not enough masks for each person to have, and you have to sign it out. So what they're advising the nurses now to do is use bandanas.
They did a hospital full of gangsters.
So they did send out a memo about like this thing called the creative team, where they're trying to get people to find someone that's a seamstress that can make the double layered mask and all this stuff. Some people are wearing these fashion masks. They're not bandanas, but they're like the mask over their N95, just so that like if you're working with a patient and you don't get something on it, the other piece is washable. But that whole washing mask, that is not good infection control at all.
Yeah, she told us that they are now like disinfecting the mask and passing them out to to different shifts. In fact, I actually have a couple of fashion masks. If you want me to, I can send them to you. The boys get them because they like to dance and do AOTO.
I got one myself. Those things are hot though. That's what I was trying to figure out. How do people walk around with those masks all day? It's hot.
It is hot. This is me literally. I pull it out, breathe it in.
See, that would be me. Hoarding gloves.
Yeah. So interestingly today, something that's very different. I'm actually very glad we don't have any cases in our facility at this time.
That's my next question. Yeah.
We've been hyper vigilant about that. But the problem is now, because all of the hospitals are filling up and they need more space for, newer patients that are coming in with the virus, we're opening up a special wing on our short-term care floor, which is similar to what our hospital floor would be, for patients that are recovering from it, that are not testing positive anymore, is what I was told. And then for, our normal surgical patient, to me, it doesn't make sense.
I don't like the sound of that. That sounds crazy.
It does. But because of the influx of people that need a bed, they're opening up an area. So me, as the wound care coordinator, because I have to round on all of these units and I don't know who's coming in, whether they have the virus or not, whether they're asymptomatic or not, which is super key. I had to implement my own policies working with infection control to make sure that I could help control the spread, the potential spread of the virus. So we have, like I said, the vent floor, which is all our residents are on ventilators. Then we also have a trach unit, which means that they just have, the trach that goes in here, and then they actually they can get normal oxygen, but they sometimes need suctioning and other help from the respiratory department. And then we have our long-term care, and then we have our short-term care. So I sent the doctor a message. I said, listen, we're going to have to cohort how we do rounds. So we're going to start on our long-term care floors where we know the people live. We're going to do our respiratory patients, which are the most compromised, and we're going to end with our short-term so that whatever we get on us, we're not exposing them to. And so I had to do that. I sent out a memo. I let all the staff know these are the new changes that I feel are necessary to implement so that we can control it. Because like I said before, if God forbid someone on those floors that is very, very sick gets it, that could be it for all of them. So
kudos to you for taking initiative of that, because I understand guidelines of what people feel like they have to do, but if they weren't for people like you, who knows what could be happening in these hospitals. So
you just have to use your judgment, really. You got to think about the fact that it could be your family member. You're laying in a hospital bed and you can't breathe or do anything for yourself. You're already sick. Someone's got to advocate for you. So I'm that advocate, 100%.
Yeah, hey, definitely. Thank you for that. Is there anything we can do for you as a nurse? Like, what are you doing personally to keep sane?
Right.
You want the truth or
lie? So right. We can get to that. So moving right along. No, the truth. Yeah. What are you doing?
I went to Total Wine. Mm-hmm. I got wine. I have my margaritas. I watched Netflix, this amazing series on about Madam C.J. Walker. I watched that.
One of my quarantine shows.
On the weekends, I go for my walks. I do a couple of miles. I live very close to Garden City Hotel, so I do my little 4 miles. It's nice when it's warm. And then once in a while, like me and other people that are really supposed to be social distancing, if we just quarantine kind of together, 1 or 2.
See? I knew I wasn't the only one. I knew it.
Nobody's allowed at my house, okay? Everybody is banned. I'm blocking everybody.
I'm with you, girl. But
and a little bit of cooking. Like, I've been playing around, making some dishes. Like, I made some spicy cabbage the other day. Made some jerk meatballs. I'm just trying to keep busy.
Nice. Is there anything we can do for the nurses, or anything you want to put out there, anything that the nurses need, anything we can do for the patients, with you being in long-term care? Like, can people write letters? These patients are there, they're stuck in their rooms. Like, what can we, I don't know if there's anything.
Are the masks things a really good idea? Should people be sewing up masks and sending them over?
Yeah, honestly, yes. I actually have another nurse friend that was posting on Facebook that she's concerned about, wearing the same mask every day. And she's like, if you guys can make masks, if you know how to sew, whatever, people are willing to pay just, so we could have masks 100%. You can make them. I don't know. It's not my thing. That, I know the residents, they like music, playlists. Some of them are able to FaceTime with family or friends. Puzzles, coloring books, stuff like that, just to kind of keep them preoccupied. One of the things that they really love to do was order out, but they can't order out, food anymore. Like, we had like Chinese food day, or we had, Domino's.
But
right, this sounds fancy.
We can't. No, I'm saying a lot of people think that nursing homes are just like the bottom of the barrel, but there's some nice ones. They're nice. And I mean, we have the same thing that hospitals have. You know, it's just, you know, at some point, the hospitals are not going to be able to take care of all the elderly people. Only the sickest of the sickest are going to be there. So a lot of the nursing homes have stepped up their game, and they have all of the equipment and all of the stuff available to do what hospitals do. And we do it. We do all of those things.
Well, kudos to y'all. I like that.
Yep, we do. I'm just looking at my list here to see if there was anything.
Look at her. She got notes and everything. Yeah, let us know. Anything you want to add, anything you want the people to know, tell them to stay their asses home.
Yes, please stay home. I need to practice what I preach. I do. But they really need to stay home. Don't shake hands. If you're going to the gas station, wear gloves. Don't touch things that people touch. Obviously, we have to go out and go shopping and go to the ATM and stuff. Wear gloves. For the nurses,
at least put a napkin in your hand or something.
Touching doorknobs. Wear gloves. Carry Purell with you. I've actually put into practice now with myself is any of the clothes that I'm wearing and sneakers, take off at the door, put it in a garbage bag, spray down my shoes with Lysol. Don't bring it home. You don't know what you're bringing home to your kids, to your husband.
Don't take none, don't leave none. That's a serious thing.
I wear 2 layers. I wear leggings, a top. I put my scrubs on, and then when I come in, I rip it all off, put it in a bag, and it goes right to wash.
I've been hearing a lot of that too. Like people are scared of the clothes now. Like, okay, we don't have time to risk it. Take the clothes off and wash them right away. So yeah.
One thing I also noticed was I have a friend that works in a hospital, and she was saying that she had a couple of patients that didn't show any symptoms, but their eyes were really red and their eyes were purple. So I remember when, we first started talking about the virus, they said that the way that it was going to be transmitted was through mouth, nose, and eyes. Why no one's wearing eyewear anywhere? The eyes. Think about just going out when they said it was airborne, and things get into your eyes before they get into your nose and your mouth. Nobody's wearing eyewear.
Am I? Yes, I am.
Yeah, that was the only system. The person just died, and they couldn't figure out why. So that I think is super important.
Okay, now I'm scared.
And they're starting to say that the virus is starting to change. It's changing. So I don't know. I take vitamin C 1,000 milligrams every day. I have a ginger immune booster that I actually made. It's part of 2 different home remedies, one of my boyfriend's mom and one that, I put together myself. And I just drink that every day just to keep my immune system up. Ginger, lemon water, apple cider vinegar, turmeric, those are all anti-inflammatories. Those also help boost your immune system. So get you some ginger.
Yeah, ginger tea. I've been on that.
Yeah, see, you know what you're doing, girl.
You look scared.
Yo, I am. Look, I have allergies, so I have, asthma during allergy season. So I'm over here like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I drank a little bit too much the other night, so I woke up with a headache, of course. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe, and I got a headache symptoms. But then I had to think, I drank too much, and I have allergies. I'm good.
Right.
Sneeze one more time, we're going to have a problem.
I've been sneezing them up.
Everybody sneeze or cough, everybody's looking around.
Right. What happened to bless you? I thought that's what we used to say with these things. Bless you. They like,
The new thing is, not today. No more bless yous, okay?
You get 3 coughs. Right. That's it. That's all you get.
You get a bless you about 1 or 2 times, and that's it. That is funny. Y'all protect the people. Thank you so much, Charne. This was great.
You're welcome. Yeah, just get on some masks, please. Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
They have to wear a garbage bag. I'm not wearing no garbage bag to go into a contact
Oh
room.
my gosh, I can't breathe just thinking about that.
Right. Ooh.
Are you serious?
Yes, because we have these yellow gowns. They're like a claw. You tie it here, you tie it in your back, and when you go into a contact room, which means someone that has something that is contagious, you wear it. Now they're cohorting, so they're putting people with the same virus or bugs, as you would say, in the same room together. And then they're kind of saying, well, you got to reserve that PPE and keep using it over because we don't have enough.
Ooh.
I wonder if this is going to change how we view and deal with the medical system in regards to supplies, in regards to how much people get paid, regarding all of this, because I think it definitely shines a light on what we are lacking, what we pay too much attention to.
Yeah.
And then what we need to pay more attention to, as far as, and not just our country, it really is a world issue. And this, the one thing that I can say about this virus, it truly shows how small the world is. And we always say, oh, it's a small world, but this really shows how small the world is. And I hope we take things a little bit more serious, after this. Hopefully we all get through this,
Right.
whether
Lord,
it's mentally or physically.
We will get through this. We definitely will. But when this first started, I never realized how much I touched my face, how, washing your hands versus Purelling, all that stuff. And then the other day I watched Outbreak. And when I tell you that movie is identical to what is going on right now, all it took was one person to sneeze, one person to get on a plane and contract it. And then it just like wildfire everywhere. And I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah. One more question. Is there anything positive, whether it's in your personal life or those around you, that you've seen that have come from this whole COVID thing? Anything positive?
I have a whole lot of positive.
Oh, come on, give them to us.
Absolutely. I've seen, like I said, I go on my walks. I've seen families together. I've drove through neighborhoods when I used to work at South Nassau Hospital in Oceanside, and I never ever saw people. You see these big, beautiful houses. I've seen father, son, wife, and husband riding bikes. People saying hello.
People speaking in New York.
Right, y'all talking to each other.
People saying hello, just being home, having fun with my significant other, building relationship, just the support of, family and friends texting each other to see how everybody's doing. Everybody's supporting the healthcare worker and the essential worker. I just, like, for example, I love the fact that they opened up the stores for seniors in the morning.
Amen.
You know what I mean? People that could have worked from home can now work from home. You know what I mean? Kids, it's a lot of stuff. It just, it helps us to stop and realize the things that are important. And it all starts at home. Family comes first is really, really important. And then you just realize that if you don't have your health and your strength, you don't have anything. And that is the most important thing we take for granted, So I learned, I'm like, oh, it's time to really take care of yourself, because that's what separates you from someone that can fight it off and someone that can't.
Yeah, and that's a tip for the people who went to the grocery stores and bought up all the canned goods and the dry foods that's going to give y'all clogged arteries in the future. You still got to take care of yourself.
Right.
That was just my tip of the day.
Yo, thank you so much. You be safe out there. You have our direct contact, so if there's anything you need, any of your patients, any of your colleagues, anything that that they may need, please let us know. We'll start putting out the word for people who we know that so. Again, it's not our calling either, but we do have some friends that do so, that we can put the word out. And if we can't sew, maybe we can send some fabric.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So thank you.
Thank you, Charne.
It was a pleasure.
We'll talk to you later.
Okay, take care. Smooches.
Bye.